we not learned from the internment of Japanese Americans? Mr. Holman, I'm a father. Do you have children? How can you possibly allow this to happen under your watch? Do you not care? Is it because these children don't look like children that are around you? I don't get it. Have you ever held a deceased child in your arms?
First of all, your comments are disgusting. I've served my country.
I've served my
country for 34 years.
I find your comments disgusting as well.
I've served my country for 34 years. And yes, I held a 5-year-old boy in my arms in back of that tractor trailer. I knelt down beside him and said a prayer for him because I knew what his last 30 minutes of his life were like. And I had a 5-year-old son at the time. What I've been trying to do my 34 years serving my nation is to save lives. So for you to sit there and insult my integrity and my love for my country and for children, that's why this whole thing needs to be fixed. And you're the member of Congress.
We agree on that.
Fix it.
We agree on that, but I disagree. But I also disagree with your characterization of immigrants as prone to criminality.
People for 3 decades on this.
Gentleman's time has expired. It's my time now.
Mr. Chairman,
it's my time.
the gentleman ripped off about 7 different questions designed to go at the character of Mr. Holman, and Mr. Holman should be given a chance to respond. It was ridiculous, the way he just rattled them all off and wouldn't let him respond to them.
Let me say this. I understand that, but first of all, I'm going to have civility in my hearings. All right? I have the floor.
I understand, and I agree with you.
I'm going to have civility. That's why I was banging, so that we could hear each person speak. I have been very courteous and very kind. Now, Mr. Holman, do you have something to say?
No one in this room has seen what I've seen in my 34-year career.
Very well.
No one has experienced what I've experienced. I've saw many dead bodies coming across this border. And you want to talk about the memo? This memo is one option to stop death. Not just about enforcing the law, stop death. If you want to legalize illegal immigration, good luck with that, because it's going to get a hell of a lot worse on that border. If you say, well, okay, from now on, there will be no consequence, no deterrence. It's not illegal to come to this country illegally. More families would come. 31% women would be raped. More children would die.
We're finally at the point where the escalation has claimed somebody's life. Man killed by police in attack on ICE detention center in Tacoma. Police in Tacoma shot and killed an armed man who was throwing incendiary devices at the Northwest Detention Center on Saturday. This is the end result of the ongoing cultural campaign to push open borders as a moral good, and the demonization of those who disagree. It is no different than the far-right's radicalization of lone wolf shooters to attack Planned Parenthood locations a decade ago. In both instances, the people who carried out the attacks are obviously at fault for their own behaviors. But we also can't overlook those who condone, or even worse, call for violent action. Tacoma police on Saturday shot and killed a man as he lobbed incendiary devices at the Northwest Detention Center, a holding center for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Police say the man, identified by Tacoma News Tribune as Wilhelm Van Spronsen, 69, of Vashon Island, was bent on a path of mass destruction when he was killed. Authorities did not immediately identify a motive for the attack. Well, guys, maybe Twitter can help you out with this one. Jesus Christ, I knew this comrade. He was one of the greatest comrades I ever met. I watched him get kicked to the curb by Tacoma PD. Rest in power, Will. May your name not be forgotten. Rest in power, you fucking hero. History will remember. R.I.P. to anarchist fighter Wilhelm Van Spronsen. The attack on the ICE facility in Tacoma is a proportionate action against enslavers and internment camp operators. He joins a long list of fallen anarchist martyrs who fought for a liberated world. A modern-day John Brown. May he rest in power. He was a 69-year-old elder comrade who last year tried to free a 17-year-old from police during a protest at the same ICE center. He literally gave his life for the cause. Rest in power. Remember him. You know, I've never heard the phrase rest in power before, but I think I can already puzzle out what it means. And that's pretty scary to me because it means I've been looking into this stuff for way, way too long. Everything to them is a power struggle. Every personal interaction, every social structure, every preference, every little bit of media, it's power all the way down. And seizing power is the only thing they desire. I'm not surprised they say rest in power when one of their own dies. But it's more than just praising a man who attacked ICE. It's a declaration that radicals on the left should keep committing these types of attacks, but with more people and more organization. We need a large group of people to take certain action against the modern-day Gestapo, not just one man alone taking on an ICE facility. There should have been 1 million people attacking ICE camps. This man's a martyr. Yes, please, let's storm ICE facilities, but not just the detention centers. We should storm the offices that run them, and the offices that fund them. It's a start anyway. I still feel this way, but we have to do this together. Say what you want about the right wing of politics, but when they produce a shooter, they at the very least have the decency to publicly disavow their actions. I know it's not much, but it's still more than whatever the left is doing right now. Whenever a Rogers or a Breivik or a Christchurch happens, all but the most extreme fringes of the right disavow the actions as going too far. When an abortion clinic gets shot up, most pro-life Republicans are willing to disavow and reiterate that legislation and not violence is how they intend to achieve their goals. But look at the left nowadays. Calls for escalation and praise for what they view as a martyr. Democratic candidates for president talking about how ICE attacks innocent illegal immigrants who didn't do nothing. Imagine if right-wingers on Twitter came out in droves to praise the Charlottesville car rammer as a martyr dedicated to their cause, and as the police who arrested them terrorists and tyrants. It would be a widespread ban fest, a media shitstorm the likes we've never seen, and calls from upper-class socialists to dox, threaten, harass, and assault anyone who dared to cheer on a murderer. The person who attacked the ICE facility was killed by the guards there. And it's never good when somebody dies, but if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. These facilities are not concentration camps, and you don't have the moral justification to attack them as if the government is carrying out a targeted extermination campaign. In fact, people generally try to flee concentration camps, not try to sneak into the country illegally that hosts them. Or maybe progressives do actually think that the point of Auschwitz was to deport Jews back to Israel or something. But with the attacker dead, we have to talk about the people in power who use their platform to radicalize others. Check out this exchange between Alexandria Occasional-Cortex and the former head of ICE, Tom Homan.
It says the official recommendation, there were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy?
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on family, for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo is submitted to the record for review.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to watch the brainless AOC get owned. Illegally crossing a border is a crime, and it's reason enough to be arrested, processed, and temporarily separated from family. But there's a larger issue here. AOC and others like her do not believe that illegal immigration should be illegal at all. In fact, that's Mr. Homan's point. He was a part of the executive branch of government, and his job was to enforce the laws that Congress puts into place. If you want him or others at ICE to treat the situation differently, you have to change the laws first. You can't simply blame them for doing their jobs if you're sitting in the chamber from where they derive their authority. On a surface level, it does seem that their end goal is open borders, erasure of the nation state, allow anyone to travel anywhere they like with no reasonable restriction at all. Fuck the working class who will get absolutely destroyed by unskilled labor, doesn't matter. To them, globalism is their assumed good, their axiomatic presupposition. But then you get instances like this. Video shows far-left activists storm ICE facility, remove American flag, then raise Mexican flag. They also raised a defaced American flag. Why would all of these people who want open borders and hate the nation state suddenly be okay with the nation state of Mexico? For a while, I was pretty convinced that open borders activists were straight up globalists. I'm sure a lot of them are, and I'm really sure that a lot of CEOs probably are too, since it means lower wages they'd have to pay. But your rank and file Antifa goon? I don't think so anymore. I think, to them, it's less about being staunch adherents to the philosophy of globalism, and more of a self-hatred that they can't seem to overcome. So they'd rather publicly flog themselves to prove how good of a progressive ally they are. It's kind of like white guilt. That's certainly part of it. Maybe American guilt? And sure, America has a checkered past, but name a nation that doesn't. Maybe they find their own sins, and by a loose extension the sins of everyone else around them, so unbearable that they'd rather destroy the structure they exist in and has raised them up, regardless of the consequences, even if that means somebody else rolls in with their own culture and sets up shop on top of the rubble. The contradiction doesn't matter to them because it's somebody else's structure and somebody else's responsibility. But the way things are now, these Antifa losers feel some sense of responsibility for how bad things are because the structure is American and they are also American. So rather than shoulder that responsibility to fix things, they'd rather destroy it all. Take hollow credit for having toppled a tyranny, and then when another tyranny appears, at least it's not an American tyranny, so they'll be blameless. They would see the West live in moral servitude rather than flawed freedom. I can't think of any other reason why they'd claim to hate nation states but raise up a Mexican flag. Or why Google would cooperate with China but not America. Or why nationalist is a bad word nowadays, but only when we use it. It seems to me that these people would rather destroy the entire world than deal with their own self-loathing. Ah well, at least ICE has a sense of humor about it. I bet they got that music from Napster too.
Before we're ready to go out and start shooting it out with cops, we have to ensure that we have, first of all, we have to make sure that we have actually developed a strategy for waging protracted People's War in the United States. So we have to utilize both legal and illegal methods depending on our actual concrete conditions to ensure that Willem von Spronsen did not die in vain.
Hello, my friends. If I sound any different today, it's because I'm actually quite sick. I've been sick since Friday. I managed to record yesterday's video before I got sick on Friday, and I kind of felt a scratchy throat coming on during the DeFango interview, and I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, now I'm in full-blown sickness mode. A bunch of you have been asking about deleted videos. How come there's been a bunch of deleted videos on my channel? The honest truth is, I was just trying something different out. I was putting in announcements for when I go live on Twitch, over at twitch.tv/gameboomers. And I generally try to stream there every single night. However, sometimes I don't make it. For example, when I was sick this week and I didn't stream at all. But my point is that I wanted to try and redirect some of my audience here over to that project because I do have a lot of fun with it and I do want it to be as successful as SFO. And it did, in fact, result in a considerable boost of my Twitch numbers for a while. However, a lot of you said that you really, really don't like it because a lot of you aren't here for the gaming content. A lot of you don't like the fact that you're getting notified for videos that get deleted. And it really is a good idea to delete them because sometimes YouTube doesn't like that sort of thing and sometimes they just clog up the channel. But I honestly failed to realize that even if I deleted them, you guys are still getting pings for them. So I think what I'll do is I'll only do that kind of thing once in a while. Like if it's a big release or like a new game or some kind of event like E3 or something, I'll do it then. As much as I want Game Boomers to succeed, I don't want to isolate you guys. So all I can say is please consider checking it out. Thank you very much. I love you.